Hello, how are you? I'm Matthew, and this is Truth from the Booth on Folked Up Radio. Thanks for making space for me and my guest today. Truth from the Booth first aired in May of 2024. 1 month later, on June 8th, Andrew Goodsell first sat in this space and told us what it meant to be unhoused in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Andrew was on the show 4 months ago, a show in which a shooting had just occurred at the encampment while we were recording for a Sunday show, and weeks before an eviction notice from that encampment called Lower Flynn Park. Today, Andrew joins me for the 10th time. 10 conversations, nearly 2 years of survival in plain sight. Andrew's now on the Dartmouth side of the harbour, his 5th move. We'll talk about what it takes to go from point A to point B when you don't have a fixed address, where the food comes from, where you escape the elements, what happens to your belongings when everything you own can be carried, how his health holds up through an Atlantic coast winter, and whether a few days of plus 10-degree weather really changes anything. We'll talk about shelters and why he says, no thank you. Trust issues with service providers? Absolutely. The dangers of using power supply to the encampment, his companion and service dog Dusty, winter preparedness, and the busking season. And where is Andrew with caseworkers and his level of engagement with them? And what are some of the conversations he's having with folks on the bubble and feeling the stressors of the rising cost of living? With encampments slated to close by fall and winter of 2027, and more structure and rules reportedly coming within months from the HRM's housing leadership, what does that mean for someone trying to live with dignity? Not a cot, not a pallet shelter, not a tiny home, dignified living. Public housing for all. That's a lot to cover, and Andrew and I do it in under 30 minutes. I'm Matthew. My 10th check-in conversation with my friend, Andrew Goodsell, is uninterrupted after this on Folked Up Radio. Abandonment sleeps first, curled in doorways and policy gaps, while blame walks past with its hands in its pockets, eyes fixed on anywhere but here. The night carries an energy, not hope exactly, more the hum of survival, a fragile current running from breath to breath, from cardboard to concrete. Compassion arrives quietly. It never announces itself. It sounds like a cup of coffee set down without a lecture, a hand up offered, not a handout, good deeds done in the margins where cameras don't look. Love still lives here, somehow, in shared cigarettes, in names remembered, in the way people watch each other sleep, as if guarding a small, borrowed peace. But everything feels illegal after dark. Existing, resting, being seen. A bench becomes a crime. A tent becomes jail time waiting to happen. Even stillness can be arrested. Death lingers, patient and polite, counting winters, counting overdoses, counting the moments no one made it back by morning. And yet, each day is momentous because survival is not small, because choosing to wake up in a world that keeps walking past you is an act of defiance. This is not failure. This is endurance. This is what it looks like when fragility learns to stand, when love refuses to leave, and when compassion, even cracked and tired, keeps showing up anyway. Halifax, Nova Scotia, home of talk radio, Truth from the Booth, an ongoing awareness campaign, keeping Canada's housing crisis on the front burner and in the moment, right here in the Halifax Regional Municipality, the Maritimes, and beyond. True, real-life stories told by those living it, existing in the streets. They bear all and provide you a brief glimpse into an unimaginable world of misery and disappointment, resilience, and triumph. Hear from those with boots on the ground advocating for change now. The stories of the unhoused need to be told by them to educate you, all of us. Hear all the conversations Sundays at 10 a.m. with a repeat at 6 p.m. here on folkedupradio.com. Now, back to today's fantastic guest. Well, let's talk about your current situation. Here we are. I make no secret, being recorded on a Friday morning. It's overcast. It's a bit chilly. I'm looking at the forecast here, Andrew. Saturday, Sunday, Overcast, 8 degrees. Monday, Tuesday, 11 degrees and sunshine. So we're going to talk about the weather in a couple of moments, but here we are on a Friday morning, show airing on a Sunday. So where are you? Where are you right now, and what are the current conditions? Just paint a picture for the folks listening in 162 countries, the scenario that is your reality in Dartmouth this morning.
Yeah, so I'm in the green space encampment at the moment, and it's basically just a large open field. Nothing has been done, but it is apparently a designated spot for unhoused people to go. And yeah, it's just a big open field that I'm subjected to all the elements and stuff in. Me and Dusty are in a very small tent, and we just haven't had an opportunity, or really like a decent space to do a better setup. So we just got a small tent that's sitting in this field, and I don't know, at the end of the day, again, there's no coverage, and there's more and more people that seem to be showing up, and they tend to pack up in and around me, and I'm subjected by all that as well. So again, I'm definitely feeling like it's extremely tough at this moment.
I've been following your just journey of survival here in the HRM for a couple of years. I know, you know, and people who have been following know that you have moved 5 times to different encampments. Big difference going from lower Flynn Park encampment that was closed. You had to move. Just walk us through getting that eviction notice. In your case, you've seen several eviction notices. What goes through your mind when you see that? And take into account when they served it, it was late fall and winter was knocking.
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, winter was here. Like, we had already been hit by snow and whatnot. And it's extremely stressful. I don't understand. Like, I've been dealing with these organizations since day one. They've been constantly pushing the fact that they are looking for those dignified living situations. And yet here I am 2 years later with nothing. I literally just waved to the director of homelessness, actually, while I'm doing this interview with you.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it really does just go to show that we don't have resources and stuff available. And for me, that's just extra crushing, because here we are 2 years. You know, this has been going on for a very long time, let alone the last 2 years I've been out. And there's no signs of fixing any of these problems. The more and more I hear, it's the less and less we're doing. So I don't know. For me, it's heartbreaking.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I'm glad that the acting director of housing and homelessness is in the area. I do plan on speaking with Ashton Stevenson. We're going to have a coffee early in the week. I hope to have him on the broadcast here in a little bit, but he's on record as saying that, well, we know that there was an announcement made that they will be closing the remaining 2 encampments here in the Halifax Regional Municipality late fall, winter of 2027. In the meantime, this is what boggles my mind, Andrew. In the meantime, they are saying that they're going to add more structure, more responsibilities coming to encampments within the next couple of months. What does that? There's no security rate there now. I mean, you do have some electricity, which you refuse to use because you know the chaos that comes with that. What are your thoughts when they tell you that there's going to be more structure and more responsibilities? I don't get that.
Again, for me, it's just them trying to throw money around at not dealing with the solution. These encampments have been around now for a very long time. Once there's been a huge uproar or something serious like those shootings go down, and then let's be honest, these security guards, they don't do anything. They literally sit in their vehicle all day in a spot. Flynn Park's a great example where the security sat in their car all day, every day in this one spot. They didn't even do rounds. Like, you wouldn't see them get out of the car and walk around the encampment or anything. So for me, again, it's just them throwing smoke up in the air to try to appease the masses that don't actually bother to look into what they are doing with all this money and stuff, right? The reality is we've got 28 organizations that are all working together. These are massive organizations. We got places like Shelter Nova Scotia, Housing Nova Scotia, Salvation Army, 902 Man Up. There's 28 of these different organizations, all of which are supposed to be pushing to help deal with the homeless crisis. But none of them are actually pushing public housing. They're all privatized individuals that are making tons of money, again, at not actually solving the problem. I believe we're making it worse. And you can pay for a security guard to come up here, pay to put a ridiculously high fence up. But if you're going to do something, you do it right and you do it from the get-go. Find a spot and actually make it into a dignified situation that if you actually plan on transitioning people. The reality is, Matthew, is that all these organizations are just happy having more people go into their shelters because they make money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's stay with the organizations and the evictions and you leaving Lower Flynn Park and bouncing around Whack-A-Mole or Whack-A-Park, musical parks. In the eviction notices, Andrew, they always make residents aware that they will help you get from point A to point B if you want to go into a shelter, storage, yada, yada, yada. I'm wondering, when the eviction notice was sent to you, logistically, how did you go from, you left Lower Flynn Park, and I believe you went to the Barrington Street encampment, which is just up the road from me, and now you're across the harbor. What assistance was given to you? How did you manage to go from point A to point B?
So again, it was the idea that they were going to show up with outreach workers or whatnot just to grab whatever they could from the stuff. So I guess if at the Flynn Park, I would have packed up everything, and then I think one of them would have offered to drive me to, for instance, the Barrington encampment. Or I remember when I did finally get to the Barrington encampment, because I spent the whole day moving my stuff there, I felt very unsafe. As soon as I got there, I was being threatened and stuff by the other people. So again, I called up one of the workers and they offered to get me a taxi chit from one side of the bridge to the other, so I could go from the Barrington encampment to the Green Space encampment.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So, but at the end of the day, that's not good, and none of that is actually helping me. Like you said, they're just kind of pushing me around. And I really want the audience to know there, Matthew, that I have signed all the necessary paperwork with multiple of these organizations, right? I've officially filled out the by name list and the housing stuff now through at least 4 of these organizations. That means 4 different organizations have all my information. They've all got permission to share it with whomever needs it to help me in my situation. And here we are 2 years later.
Do you currently have a caseworker or a by name list? Like, where exactly are you, Andrew, in this process?
So the last time I filled out all this information was, I think, 2 or 3 months ago, and it was through Housing Nova Scotia. I believe the worker was Emma. I don't know her last name, but I never got anything back from her since I filled out all this information. So I figured I'd hear from her a week or 2 later for any kind of updates or whatnot, but I don't get any of that, right? So I literally have no idea what's going on. And again, like I said, it's not like I don't see these people every day. I just waved to the director as we were doing this conversation, right? So these people, they all see me, they all know my situation, and I'm not progressing anywhere. No updates or anything, Matthew. And on top of that, actually, the updates that I have got was that I seem to be going higher and higher on the by name list instead of lower and lower. Like, I went from number 60th way back at University Avenue, and last I heard, I'm somewhere around the 100 mark now. So I don't understand how I've climbed 40 spaces over the last 2 years and that much further away from actually getting help. And again, I'm sure the audience can imagine what kind of stress that causes me.
Well, they can imagine it, but I hope they never experience that. I tell people that.
Well, again, that's why I fight this fight. No one deserves to go through the struggles and stresses that I have gone through for something as simple as a human's basic needs. There's no reasons that they shouldn't have been met. if people see my history here in the HRM, I have done everything in my power to just be a really good citizen, to work hard and to make a difference. And here I was, the time that I asked for help, and things only seem to have got worse and worse and worse. I don't know. It's again, I'm officially at the point now, 2 years later, that I've lost a lot of this hope. People always say, well, you got to be hopeful. And it's like, I'm hopeful for the human race to smarten up, but I'm not hopeful towards any of these organizations doing anything until the average Joe starts fighting for a human's basic needs.
Yeah, I've from the multiple conversations I've had with people who are unhoused, there are some serious, serious trust issues. You are in a wide open field on a hill in Dartmouth, and I'm just curious, and I want my audience to know just what is your daily routine just going for food? Because I know there's a difference between getting food locations here on the Halifax side of the harbour. What's happening on the Dartmouth side? What's your daily routine, and how well are you eating, Andrew?
I'm doing all right. The reality is that here in Dartmouth, especially in and around the downtown core, the only thing that I really see that they push is the community fridge and cupboard, which is up on, I think it's like Wentworth and Ochterlony. And then there's also Margaret's House, which is amazing. I tell everyone about Margaret's House. They actually do give you as much as they can. And I try to be vigilant. So I wake up, I check that fridge every morning to see, or the fridge and cupboard every morning to see if there's anything that's worth putting in my bed for later. And I hit up Margaret's House every day that they're open, which is Monday to Friday, as long as the schools are open, they're open. And I'm hoping that the same will happen in the summer holidays. As far as I know, they're still open. But I know that throughout the school year, if there's a snow day or the school's closed, Margaret's House closes. So, basically I hit up the community fridge and cupboard. I hit up Margaret's House, and if I'm lucky and I manage to find anything extra, I'll put it in my bin. But a lot of the stuff that tends to get put into that stuff is stuff that you got to cook. It's hard pastas and sauces and that kind of stuff. So I am limited, but I grab whatever I can whenever I can, and I'm not starving to death. So
Okay. I'm looking at the environment weather forecast. Again, this show being recorded on a Friday morning, +1, mainly cloudy today. Beginning of the work week, Monday, Tuesday, 11 degrees and sunshine. It's been a not pretty. It's been a brutal winter here on the Atlantic coast. Where do you and your best friend Dusty seek shelter? A few weeks ago, we sat down for a chat for the documentary Unanchored, and we were at the Alderney Landing. Now, is that a spot that you go to frequently? What other places do you and Dusty go to get out of the elements?
So Alderney is definitely one of my go-to areas. It's the closest area around that's actually got a spacious area where I can charge up and power up, and I'm actually super grateful for it. When I was over on the HRM side, there wasn't nearly as much around me and very few places that I felt comfortable at. So Alderney definitely is a big one. And it's actually really nice that it's here. Besides that, there's really not a lot of places. I don't find that there's a ton of places that are dog friendly. And even though I do have my vest and everything for Dusty, I don't want to be somewhere where we're not wanted or felt welcomed, right? So if people don't want us there, then I don't want to be there. And besides that, very, very rarely, when my mom's in good health, which unfortunately she isn't right now, I'll go and visit her on occasion. And then my brother as well is another place that I like to go to. But again, he's got all kinds of stuff going on, all kinds of car problems and whatnot. So I've been trying to help out as best I can, but I don't even have the drive up there where I normally get my showers and my clothing and everything done. So hopefully he'll get that all fixed up soon, and I'll be able to do that stuff soon as well.
Okay. I walk into, again, I appreciate your time on this Friday morning, Andrew, for doing this. On my way to work, I walk up Barrington. I walk by the Barrington Street encampment twice a day. I've been walking that route for 4 years. I know it's a pretty dangerous piece of property there. I'm wondering, when you're moving around from point A to point B, regardless of if some service is helping you, can you paint us a picture of what you have for your belongings? Like, do you have anything in storage? I think it's important for people to understand that how many times, me personally, have seen you have to start over after everything has been thrown out. So I'm just curious about your belongings. And Andrew, as you do that, paint a picture. If we're walking onto the Green Road encampment site and we're looking at your piece of property there, explain to us what it's like for you to go home to that.
Yeah. So I've got a very small 2-man tent on either. It's like greenish. On either side of it, I've got a wagon. Unfortunately, the frames are busted and the one wheel's completely toast on the one. But that's what I got. That's what I moved from one of the encampments to the other. And they're just neatly on either side of my tent. And then that's it. So you got a big open field, minus all the other tents that are around me, and you'll know which one's mine because mine's the nice one with no garbage around it. And yeah, so that's what you see. And you can imagine, like, if it's raining or anything, then I'm walking towards that. I'm opening up this tiny little tent. Me and Dusty are crawling in, and that's where we hang out or sleep, right? So it's very, very tiny. It's not comfortable at all. I definitely feel like, well, again, like even just you're laying on mats in the ground, right?
So you're not on pallets. You're actually right on the ground, Andrew.
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
I've got like a giant foam mat that I'm on, so it's actually got me up off the ground technically, but it itself becomes the ground. And again, I don't think people understand like the struggles, like because of the amount of condensation and stuff. And I try to vent out as much as I can, but the inner part of the tent gets frozen overnight due to me and Dusty's condensation. Then it melts during weather like we're having right now, and then all my blankets absorb all that water, and then it freezes again every night, right? So it's not comfortable. It's not nice. No one should be sleeping in any shelter or tent, in my opinion. Again, here we are in 2026, and the human race is magical and capable. I look around and I see what we're able to do, so I don't understand why I'm sleeping in a tent.
You are not a fan, or you would never raise your hand if search and rescue was to show up and say, hey, we have a place for you at the shelter. You have continuously said, no, I'm going to ride out the storm right here. Why do you say no to shelters?
Oh, I tell everyone shelters are bad. They're not good for your mental health at all. They were originally developed to be a very temporary transitional place, and they've now become basically the equivalent of long-term emergency shelters. So basically, they shove you in an area, especially for men's shelters. You're going to be shoved in a very big open area full of a bunch of guys. They're all in bad situations. Most of them will go towards drugs or alcohol as their way of great escape, but obviously that causes its own issues as well. I tell everyone, if you go to a shelter, you're basically looking to learn how to drink Listerine, shoot up properly, or have your mental health destroyed. That's what shelters are good for. Every single one of them, you're going to find either a dealer or someone that's willing to find you a dealer. You're going to find all kinds of people that want to manipulate you to do what they want. And if you're not doing the things that they want or getting them the things that they need, then you're an enemy to those people, and they're going to treat you as so. There's nothing good about shelters. It's officially at the point, I'm sure if there's any real research done about it, you will see that they cause way more harm than actually dealing with these issues.
I'm going to tell my quick story, because I had heard stories about, well, horrific stories that you're talking about with shelters. And my only experience with the shelter was when I was part of the protest at Grand Parade Square. We took a group of men up to what was soon to be opening at the Halifax Forum. And my suspicion was proven to me within less than 5 minutes, because I knew once you put a bunch of different energies in a room, and maybe some people haven't seen each other in a while, maybe there's a debt owed. Well, in this situation, one of the gentlemen that we took up with us took a crutch. Someone had a crutch and hit him in the face and like broke his teeth. So yeah, you'll never convince me, Andrew, and I'm with you. Shelter's bad. Shelter's
very bad. Very bad. They're not good. Again, the idea originally was that someone would find themselves in a shelter. They would work towards putting that person in a dignified living situation. We don't have that anymore. We have apparently these glorified encampments, which, like you say, they plan on shutting down. There is nowhere else around. And I certainly hope people look into the forum, because we have put millions upon millions of dollars towards having people protected by sheets all around there. And again, it's like there's nothing cool about that. I don't.
It's not dignified. It's just not
very heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's just not dignified living.
There's nothing cool about it.
I know that you have been taken to a tour of one of the pallet shelter homes. What's been your experience? For me, the optics of it, I think having any small cluster of buildings surrounded by a chain link fence, that's just a turn off to me. So what was your experience?
Well, that's exactly how I felt about it. If anyone wants to look up what a containment center looks like, that's kind of what the feels like. You've got a giant fence circling these tiny little boxes. You're going to be asking permission to come and go. There's all kinds of stipulations on things. You're not allowed to have a guest over or nothing, right? So as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing dignified about most of these situations. Right down, I hate to say it because I keep on thinking it's the best that we've got. Even the tiny homes, the more I hear about it, the more it sounds like they're micromanaging everything about that situation. And I don't understand where anyone in this world can feel good to charge someone hundreds of dollars for a space and then micromanage everything they do within that space.
Mm-hmm. You spend a lot of time walking on the peninsula. Busking is one of the things you do. You make origami. Wintertime, that must perhaps impact the money that you could be bringing in. Obviously, you're not setting up on the sidewalks right now. So I'm just curious, along with the busking, what types of conversations are you having with people? And I know that people are more open to talk maybe to Dusty than you sometimes, but what are some of the conversations? And keeping in mind the conversations that you were having when you were running for mayor here in the HRM a couple of years ago, and some of the conversations you're having now in early 2026.
Well, everyone that I talk to, for the most part, when it comes to my situation and the situation Canada finds itself in this homelessness crisis, it's just mind-boggling. It's devastating for everyone that I know. I've got people, it doesn't seem to matter, all over every spectrum and every kind of family situation that is worried about their livelihood and the future of their children and stuff. And yeah, for me, it's just super, super heartbreaking. Like, everyone's optimistic. Everyone's hopeful. We all know that the human race is brilliant. We have all the potential in the world. But again, we're not pushing to solve these things. I'm not hearing anything on the news that says we're going to be building any decent amount of actual public housing here in the HRM. Everything that I hear seems to be about pushing more money towards these privatized organizations, which again isn't going to help anyone. We are doing everything in our power, it feels like, just to make life harder and more stressful for everybody. Every family, every individual is having struggles, whether it's coming to, getting the amount of hours that they need to pay their bills. To get a decent wage is almost unheard of now for so many people. And even those that I hear that are apparently at the living wage here in Nova Scotia, a lot of them seem to be struggling, which again, for me, is like, I'm so far out of the loop now that it really just, it crushes me to hear these people say these things. When you got people worried about paying their power bill, even drink water with the amount of issues that we seem to be having with the water companies, where next thing you know, we're under boil water advisories and stuff. It's mind-boggling now. The prices of food is devastating. I don't know anyone that feels good about going into a grocery store anymore. So the reality is that everyone I talk to is extremely hopeful, but everyone also points out that we've got a lot of issues right now that Canada just shouldn't have. Like, when it comes to food security, we shouldn't have that as an issue. When it comes to housing security, that should not be an issue. When it comes to power, oh my God, especially out here in the East Coast, why are we even talking about it like it's an issue? Because these things shouldn't be issues. These are the most basic needs that every human needs, and yet they're causing immense amounts of stress to every individual that I know out there. Like,
yeah, there's a large population of Nova Scotians, large population of the globe who are definitely feeling the squeeze and the stressors of life. Just one final thing, Andrew, and again, I appreciate your time. I just want to, again, going back to what I pulled off the internet, what is being put out there, that more structure, roles and responsibilities are coming to your encampment. I'm asking that hopefully within the next couple of months, something is implemented, but I would ask you just to stay in touch with me to let us know what actually happens over there.
Oh, hands down, I will. It's kind of heartbreaking to me because my guess is that they're going to turn it a lot into something similar to the pallets or whatever, and they'll probably put up a huge gate and try to gate everyone in, and then have security that comes and lets people come and go. And I can tell you and the audience now, Matthew, if that happens, then I'm going to be moving again, because I'm not going to be micromanaged by the city because I can't stick up to their standards, and I don't think it's right that I should be bullied around and told what to do and how to do it when I'm not a criminal. I'm just an average person that wants a better world for all.
Andrew Goodsell, resident at the Green Road Encampment, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Andrew, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matthew. You have a wonderful week, eh?
For nearly 2 years, we've heard many powerful stories and looked at the challenges faced by our most vulnerable right here in Nova Scotia. But let's remember, it's not just about providing shelter. It's about creating lasting change. As we move forward, let's keep in mind the unhoused approach. Universal networks helping overcome unmet social and economic deficits. We need collaboration across all levels of government, community organizations, and the private sector. We need solutions that address not just housing, but also the root causes: mental health, addiction, poverty, and the lack of affordable services. To you listening right now, whether you're policymakers, community leaders, or concerned citizens, there's work to be done. Let's make sure we're building a future where no one is left behind. Full stop. Please don't forget there is another full week of the Paralympic Winter Games from Milano Cortina, Italy. So get out and cheer. Go Canada, go. I'm Matthew. I'll be back in 7 days with a brand new show. Let's get you back to your Sunday soundtrack on Canada's #1 folk station, 99.9 FM in Perth, Andover, and folkedupradio.com.